Hello, thank you for taking the time to view my Kickstarter project. My name is Paul Hansen, and my project is a fairly simple one: to save a piece of American aviation history and to restore it to its former glory. In the next few minutes, I hope that you'll enjoy hearing a little bit about me, my team, and the subject of our restoration efforts, a 1946 Luscombe 8A aircraft, an aircraft with a rich history and which, without your help, may very well pass into history.
The Luscombe 8 was a revolutionary aircraft of its day, incorporating an aluminum fuselage rather than the wooden or tube and fabric construction of its competition. The aircraft was strong, light, and nimble. For a light aircraft, this was a revolutionary construction technique. When the type made its first flight in December of 1937, the aircraft were also more efficient than its competitors, cruising 10 to 20 miles per hour faster on the same power, which at that time was just 50 horsepower. During World War II, the Luscombe 8 played a significant part in wartime preparedness through the Civilian Pilot Training Program. This program began in 1939 with the stated goal of increasing the number of civilian pilots. At the time, pilots, instructors, and small training aircraft were all in short supply. However, after the invasion of Poland the same year, the military value of the program became obvious. In order to increase its share of the program's market, Luscombe refined the Model 8. The instrument panel was changed so that it could be equipped with the necessary instruments for instrument flight and training, and so that radios could be installed easily. Several universities were later included in the program, including the Tuskegee Institute. Making the program accessible through the university system allowed women for the first time to train en masse to be pilots, and the inclusion of the Tuskegee Institute in the ranks of the CPTP participants helped open the doors for the first African American military pilots, the majority of whom were graduates of the Civilian Pilot Training Program.
After the war, military pilots were returning to a world that wanted them to keep flying. They too, of course, wanted to keep flying.
Directly after the war, the Cessna 140 entered production, with the 170 2 years later. The design of these aircraft owed much to the superior Luscombe design that flew years prior. Other manufacturers as well followed suit, and the once revolutionary design that first flew in 1937 was being copied across the industry. The design proved itself to be strong, light, and dependable, and it was the beginnings of what we know of today as general aviation.
And while Cessna and other manufacturers sold thousands of aircraft throughout the 1950s, 60s, and 70s, Luscombe struggled with a fairly limited product offering.
Luscombe's fatal blow came about by the loss of an Air Force trainer contract, and in 1949 Luscombe closed their doors. While the aircraft's type certificate and assets have changed hands over the years, there have just been an additional 133 Luscombe 8 aircraft built since 1949.
While there were 24,000 Cessna 150s built between 1958 and 1977 alone.
The particular Luscombe that is the subject of our restoration efforts is located in West Palm Beach, Florida. The aircraft was disassembled and placed into indoor storage in 1992 prior to the death of the previous owner. The aircraft has been in this particular family since June of 1965, and as you can imagine, the family has expressed their desire to see the aircraft flying once again, and in its original condition. There are several aspects of this particular aircraft which make it perfect for restoration. First, in spite of being constructed in 1946, the aircraft only has a total of around 2,000 hours on it. This is a bonus for an aircraft of this age. Secondly, the engine has just 24 hours on the clock since it went through a major overhaul. Well, of course, while the engine was stored correctly, it will still need to be gone through thoroughly and updated per the manufacturer, and the instruments will need to be replaced and radios added for safety.
My intention, and that of the team, is that after the aircraft has been thoroughly restored, the aircraft will be flown to air shows and aviation events as an educational tool, in an effort to keep the rich spirit and heritage of American aviation alive.
Air shows, fly-ins, and associated events have often been called the best the aviation world has to offer when attempting to introduce itself to the public, and in allowing non-aviators to see the value, excitement, and history offered by the industry.
And now let me tell you about our team.
As for myself, again, my name is Paul, and I've been an aviation junkie since I was 6 years old. It was then that my grandmother and I flew to Omaha on a smoky Boeing 720. My great-uncle Jeff was one of those wartime pilots who were part of the CPTP and a personal hero of mine. Jeff Weiner was a World War II pilot who flew for the famous Flying Tiger Squadron, transporting supplies over the Himalayas to China from November 1943 until the summer of 1945. He taught me how to fly when I was 8 years old, and by doing so, has created a lifelong obsession with aircraft and flying. In that time, I've met great people and had great aviation experiences, such as working for a major airline. The single constant has been an undying love of the art of flying and, as well, the art of aircraft. Gerald Valentine grew up with planes. He's a long-time airframe and power plant mechanic who's also a veteran of the United States Marine Corps and the United States Air Force. Jerry's a Vietnam vet who's worked on aircraft big and small and in all sorts of interesting conditions. After his military career, Jerry worked on airliners in Denver and spent time teaching aircraft mechanics and avionics at what is now Redstone College in Broomfield, Colorado. Larry Dahl is an electronics and avionics specialist. Larry is a Desert Storm veteran who was with the U.S. Air Force as well, where he served as an F-15 specialist. Larry spent a good part of time in Florida where he supported tactical aviation training, after which he was an instructor at Lowry Air Force Base in Denver. Like Jerry, he too was an instructor at Redstone College after leaving the Air Force. Larry specializes in avionics, electrical, and electronic systems. My son, Matthew Hansen, is currently enrolled at Redstone College. He's in the process of gaining his airframe and power plant mechanics rating, and like his father, he's an aviation junkie. He has spoken to the staff members at the school, and interest in the project, which I've just described, is keen. At this point, we'll take all the help that we can get.
We have a great project aircraft, we have a great cause, and we have a great team to ensure the project will be a complete success. But we need you.
We have some fantastic rewards for the various levels of contribution. We have everything from bumper stickers to ball caps. We have polo shirts and a beautiful desk clock. For the highest level of reward, you can have your name painted right on the side of the restored aircraft. A lasting tribute to your support of aviation heritage, which will be seen wherever the plane may be on display.
Thank you again for taking the time to view our project. We hope that you'll help us preserve a piece of genuine American aviation history, not only for this generation, but for those yet to come.